Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes Sri Guru Padan Guru Maharaj. Radha and Mataji, whenever you're ready, you can start, Mataji.
Okay, sure, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna to all dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishriki. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 12, the creation of the Kumaras and others. Text 44. The signs of the text 44. The signs of the logical arguments, the Vedic goals of life, and also law and order, moral codes, and the celebrated hymns Buhu, Bu, Bur, Buva, and Swaha all became manifested from the mouths of Brahma, and the Pranava Omkara was manifested from his heart. Text 45. Thereafter, the art of the literally expression Ushnika was generated from the hairs on the body of the Almighty Prajapati. The principal Vedic hymns Gayatri was generated from the skin, Tristupa from the flesh, Anustupa from the veins, and Jagati from the bones of the lords of the living entities. Text 46. The art of writing verse, Pankriti, became manifested from the bone marrow, and that of the Brihuti, another type of verse, was generated from the life breath of the Lord of the living entities. Text 47. Brahma's soul was manifested as the touch alphabets, his body has the ovals, his sense has the celebrant alphabets, his strength has an intermediate alphabets, and his sensual activities has the 7 notes of the music. Text 48. Brahma is the personal representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as the source of the transcendental sound, and is therefore above the conception of the manifested and unmanifested. Brahma is a complete form of the absolute truth and is invested with the multifarious energies. Text 49. Thereafter, Brahma accepted another body in which sex life was not forbidden, and thus he engaged himself in the matter of the further creation. Text 50th. O son of the Kurus, when Brahma saw that in spite of the presence of sage of great potency, there was no sufficient increase in population, he seriously began to consider how the population could be increased. Text 51. Brahma thought to himself, alas, it is wonderful that in spite of my being scattered all over, there is still insignificant population throughout the universe. There is no other cause of this misfortune but destiny. Text 52. While he was thus observed in the contemplation and was observing the supernatural power, 2 other forms was generated from his body. They are still celebrating as a body of Brahma. Text 53. The 2 newly separated bodies united together in a sexual relationship. Text 54. Out of them, the one who had the male form became known as the Manu, name Swayambhuva, and the woman became known as Shatarupa, the queen of the great soul Manu. Text 55. Thereafter, by sex inclusion, they gradually increased the generation of the population one after the another. Text 56. O son of Bharata, is due course of time, he, Manu, begot in Shatarupa 5 children, 2 sons Priyavarta and Uttanapada, and the three daughters Akruti, Devahuti, and Prashuti. Text 57. Text 57. The father Manu handed over his first daughter Akruti to the sage Ruchi and the middle daughter Devahuti to the sage Kradamba and the youngest Prashuti to Daksha. From then all the world filled with the population. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of third canto, 12th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Creation of the Kumaras and Others. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much, Madam. Yeah, I think Sri Krishna Prabhuji, whenever you're ready, you can start, Prabhuji.
Yeah, sure, Prabhuji. Thank you very much, Radharani Mataji. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yogam Sikshashtamekam Purusha Puranam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sriradari Kripambuditamaham Prapatye Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So today we are continuing this Brahma's creation and how is creating the Manus and all other for the purpose of increasing the population praja. So he's systematically engaging in this creation process. And every step he is being is being instructed and guided by the Supreme Lord, as we can see that he's hitting many stumbling blocks and he's hitting many obstacles, but all of a sudden some beautiful thing happens and the creation is continuing. So we can see the hand of the Supreme Lord is very much visible here. So in the previous verses we have seen how systematically the four varnas, four ashramas, and the duties of the four varnas, and the what, how they are supposed to live, what is the principles of religion, all of that has been manifested. Now in starting from today's verse number 44, there are many things mentioned here. One is the science of logical argument. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, when he was young, he used to study this Nyaya philosophy, which is very complex. By logic, we can actually come to some extent of conclusion about the source of the creation. So not this kind of. It is very much needed at the lower stages of bhakti. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was also involved in, he mastered all of the Vedic knowledge just to actually set an example that bhakti is more important than the philosophical logic and all that. So here Brahmaji is creating all this, the science of logical argument, and is also creating the danda niti. So danda niti is like danda is like punishment, and niti is like a law and order. So he's creating the law and order. So we can see that in this creation, law and order is very much required by state and federal governments. So similarly, the law and order for the entire universe, there are some laws, moral codes that if we violate, we get punished because of those law and order. And he's also creating this celebrated verses, the bu buaha swaha, so swa. So this is like a part of also Gayatri mantra. So he's creating that, and he's also creating the pranava mantra omkara from his heart. Pranava hi asya daharataha. So he's creating from the heart. So and then so he is also creating several literary expressions. So literary expressions, it's like art, So in this world, the art is so elaborately displayed in terms of music, paintings, sculptures, a variety of arts. So the original source here is Brahmaji is creating that. And then from his hairs of the body, he created the art. And the Gayatri mantra is also manifesting from his skin. And from his veins, Anushtup Jagati, from the bones of the Lord of living entities. So Brahmaji systematically is creating the verses, the writing, the part of the art of writing, the art of music, everything is coming from Brahmaji here. So here, verse number 46, some verses are only 2 lines. You would see this, some verses are 8 lines, some verses are 2 lines. So Bhagavatam is very dynamic. So in this verse, he is creating the art of writing, Pangti, and then and then another, that Brahati, another type of verse is generating from his life breath. So then going on, Brahmaji now he's creating the alphabets. So here specifically, the Sanskrit alphabets are mentioned in the purport by Srila Prabhupada. So Brahma's soul, it was mentioned that Brahma's soul manifested this alphabets, and this body manifested the vowels, and senses manifested the sibilant alphabets. So, and also their sensual activities as the 7 notes of music. So what we have is sargam, sare, gama, pada, ni. So this is manifested here from his sensual activities as 7 notes of music. So we can see here all of these is mentioned in the purport of spiritual, all of these spiritual sound. Prabhupada is giving a reason why. It says here, Bhavantisma Prajapate. Basically, Brahmaji is these sound vibrations are originally called as Sabda Brahma, or spiritual sound. So Brahma was basically created in the Mahakalpa, it seems, as the incarnation of the spiritual sound. So the Vedas, like if you see Sri Vaishnavas and other Sampradayas, they just recite Vedas. Every day they recite Vedas. The Vedas are considered spiritual sound, mantras, just like, so when we chant the Vedas, the spiritual vibration penetrates the heart and purifies the heart. So, and there is no need of any interpretation in terms of sound vibration. That's what Prabhupada is mentioning here. So, and he's also giving specific details about how Sanskrit has manifested with the vowels, consonants, and then 25 letters are called sparshas. So it seems like Sanskrit has 13 vowels and 35 consonants. The vowels he's mentioning: a, I, u, ru, le, I, o, au. So these are like Sanskrit specifically. Prabhupada is mentioning his attraction for Sanskrit is very much visible here. So you can imagine Prabhupada himself was translating all these verses from Sanskrit to English. It is a very, very great task. And he has to be a master in Sanskrit, as well as he's devotionally, he's a pure devotee of Krishna. From both perspectives, he needs to be a master in terms of understanding. Krishna is, of course, revealing from the heart, but from a standpoint of understanding Sanskrit also, he is very, very expert. So here he is mentioning these specific consonants, ka, ga, ga, like that. So, so the reason he's mentioning all this is he's saying all these vibrations are Sabda Brahma, or a spiritual sound. So the reason the Vedas is also spiritual sound is all manifested from the Supreme Lord Himself. But we can ask a question that this is a material world, how can actually the sound here can be, all of these letters can be spiritual because it is manifested from the Supreme Lord. Prabhupada is making a point that there is nothing material, because the origin is the Supreme Lord, who is from the spiritual world. And from the whole creation perspective also, the spiritual world is like the 3/4 of creation, and then the material world is just 1/4 of the creation, and it is just like a sky in the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, if there is a small portion of the sky which is the material creation, and that is emanating from the Supreme Lord, and that is the reason that therefore is concluding that the illusion, material manifestation, is therefore called illusion in the proper sense of the term. Meaning there is nothing material because everything is coming from the Supreme Lord, spiritual world. So if you think anything material, that is an illusion. Means if you think anything is not connected to Supreme Lord, anything is separate from the Supreme Lord, that is the real illusion, Prabhupada is saying. So that is in alignment with the scriptures that we are reading. Krishna Surya Sama Maya Haya Andakar Yaha Krishna Taha Nahi Maya Radhikar. So if you think Krishna's presence is everywhere, and there is no scope of illusion because everything manifested from Krishna. So that is a point that Prabhupada is also quoting here. I mean, several discussions also Prabhupada mentions this point that when it comes to trying to make a distinction between material and spiritual, sometimes you have quoted that everything is spiritual. The reason being, we have to connect with Krishna and try to utilize, try to be in the consciousness, Krishna consciousness, that every moment we think of this is his creation, this is everything manifested from him. To come to that point, Prabhupada makes all of the points to bring us to that point of realization. So he's making a conclusion here. For those who are realized souls, there is nothing but spirit. So this is a very exalted position. This is in the Srimad Bhagavatam also. We can see that the exalted Mahatmas, like Vyasadeva and Sukadeva Goswami, Narada Muni, wherever they travel, they just try to just sing the glories of the Lord, and they don't just this place is material, this place is spiritual. They try to engage wherever they go. They try to engage their senses in the service of the Lord. And that way, for them, everything is spirit. And going on further here, Brahmaji is basically his personal representation of Supreme Lord. Meaning, you can imagine that Supreme Lord is immediately, Brahmaji, he's immediately representing the Supreme Lord in the entire creation process, and he's taking the knowledge from the heart directly from the Supreme Lord. Is very, very elevated, and he's making a point here that therefore above the conception of manifested and unmanifested. So meaning, so he manifested meanings visible, unmanifested meaning not visible. So another point here is Nana Shakti Upam Bhramitaha. So Lord has invested a lot of potencies and unlimited multifarious energies in Brahmaji for the purpose of creation and for the purpose of the expansion. So he is he's not like ordinary living entity, he's beyond that. And to make a point, Maitreya Rishi is elaborating this here to Vidura. we cannot misunderstand Brahma to be like an ordinary living entity. He's directly, in connection with the Supreme Lord. And when Brahmaji's post is also very highly elevated, I think the next Brahma is also in the line, like it is already decided, okay, this particular living entity is going to be the next Brahma because he's highly elevated. So like that, sometimes when there is no living entities who are suitable for that position, Supreme Lord himself accepts that position in order to expand this creation and create this population, prajas and all that. So Supreme Lord personally takes charge. So we can understand the position, the very importance of that position. And he's also the master of all the demigods, Indra, Chandra, Varuna. So all of them are also invested with various energies by the Supreme Lord. So therefore, Prabhupada is concluding that we should not minimize, anytime we should not minimize the position of Lord Brahma, just because there was one instance that he was attracted to his own daughter, we should not minimize his position, because such a tendency by Brahma is also is not like ordinary living entity. So that point, we have to understand. And then further going on with the creation, Brahmaji, now he's accepting another body for the purpose of procreation and expanding this creation. So in the previous verses, we have seen that his body, he gave up this body and it became like a fog. Now he is accepting another body for the purpose of procreation. Because it's specifically mentioned, this body is suitable for Sargaya Manodade. So in the matter of creation, this body is suitable for him. And so when Brahmaji is, in spite of his, trying to create the progeny, he's not seeing much results in terms of populating the whole creation. And he is considering, why is this not happening in spite of in spite of the presence of the sages. And he's considering that. At that point, aho adbhutam yatan me, so Brahma he was thinking, in spite of me being scattered all over the universe, I'm trying to increase the progeny, but still the population is not sufficient. It's not sufficiently populated in this creation. And then he's thinking, Daivam atra vigatakam. So he's, maybe it's, misfortune, like that he was thinking. But it's just a destiny, like Daivam, like it is just Lord, Supreme Lord probably wants like this. So he was just thinking like this. And suddenly when he was observed in that contemplation, two forms manifested, Kashya Rupam, Adut Dveda. So like two forms manifested from his body, and they are generated from his body, and they were, one is female and one is male, and they are none other than the Swayambhu Manu and Shatrupa. So the Manu on so like there are 14 in the one day of Brahma, 1,000 kalpas, there are 71 Manus come and go. So now the Swayambhu Manu's period have started. Now the Swayambhu Manu is actually manifested along with his wife Shatrupa. So these two entities, Tabhyam Rupa Vibhagabhyam. So these two entities, they started again populating the universe, and along with the queen Shatrupa, Swayambhu Manu, and they actually started to populate the universe. Now their children, immediate children is just mentioned here. and of course they're expanding the whole creation. So of course just the immediate children are mentioned. So they begot 2 sons, Priyavrata and Uttanapada, and 3 daughters, Akuti, Devahuti, and Prasuti. They 5 children from Swayambhu Manu begot in Shatrupa. So now the father, now their marriage of their daughters, who married whom? Like Brahmaji initially manifested the many rishis, Sapta rishis like Marichi. All of these rishis, Kardama actually manifested from Brahma also. So all of these sages now are getting married to different daughters of Swayambhu Manu here. Like Akuti married sage Ruchi, and then Devahuti married Kardama Muni, and then Prashuti married to Daksha. So Daksha also very famous in populating the whole creation. Like we have several pastimes in Srimad Bhagavatam also. So from all of these lineage, it is mentioned that the whole creation was populated. The whole universe, this universe was populated. And now Prabhupada is mentioning about this history. So we can all say that our great grandfather is Brahmaji. Because from Brahmaji, all of the universe was created. Then the Praja also started manifesting from Brahmaji only. So from Brahmaji, all of these sages came. From Brahmaji, the Manu, from Manu, their sons, and from their sons, all of this population expanded. So for everyone, the great grandfather is Lord Brahma only. And so Supreme Lord is Brahma's father is Supreme Lord, and therefore our father is also Supreme Lord. So Prabhupada is making this point that in Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says, Aham Bija Pradapita. So he is the seed-giving father of all living entities, and not only human beings. The animals is also created by Brahmaji only. So the bodies, of course, the bodies are manifested by Brahma, but the Atma or soul is given by the Supreme Lord himself. The soul, Brahma cannot create the soul. The soul is invincible, it's everlasting, ever existing. There is no beginning, there is no end. The soul has such properties. Now Brahmaji is giving bodies to these different souls and trying to invite these souls into these bodies for the purpose of again purifying the existence of all these living entities. So it is the whole master plan of Krishna. It's happening here. And there is another verse Prabhupada is also quoting from Bhagavad Gita in the 11th chapter Bhagavad Gita. And here Krishna, here actually Arjuna is saying that you are the Lord of the air. Vayur Yamo Agnir Varunaha. So you are the Lord of the air, you are the Supreme Justice Yama, and you are also fire. Sashankaha. Varunaha is the Lord of rains. Prajapatis Tvam Prapitamahascha. So you are the moon and you are the great grandfather. And therefore I offer my respectful obeisances unto you again. So Punascha Bhuya Api Namo Namaste. So here Arjuna is praying after Vishwarupa that he's acknowledging that after seeing the Vishwarupa where Lord manifested, the whole creation is visible in him. Now Arjuna is acknowledging, yes, you are actually manifesting in all these forms, and you are also Brahmaji, because he sees Brahma and Lord Shiva is also in the universal form. Now Arjuna is acknowledging that fact, and here Prabhupada is quoting that also. So this concludes today's verse. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhu. Sri Krishna Prabhu. Yeah, let's offer obeisances. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Sri Prabhupada ki jai. Our obeisances to all the devotees. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhu bhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.